Good evening, you're with ET now. This is the India Development Debate, the only show at 9 p.m. that puts the spotlight on development issues. I'm Sandeep Gurumurthi from the News Centre in Mumbai. Joining me in Delhi is my colleague and co-anchor Supriya Shrinate. Straight to the big debate tonight then. Minimum governance for maximum city. That is a big verdict as Mumbai continues to reel under heavy rains. Flooded roads, crumbling infrastructure and loss of human life. The city that never sleeps is shut for the second day in a row, with rail and road traffic coming to a grinding halt. Schools have declared a holiday while government and private offices are reporting very thin attendance. Productivity in the country's financial capital has taken a huge beating. In fact, all the tall claims of Mumbai's municipal corporation on monsoon preparedness has fallen flat. And as usual, the blame game has begun. The BMC says the flooding is because of the metro work in the city, while the MMRDA's claim of a pothole-free ride this monsoon season has indeed come crashing.
Indeed. Now, enough is enough. The city that contributes maximum to the country's tax kitty surely does deserve a better deal. Be it poor urban planning or high levels of corruption, Mumbai is bursting at its seams. The Shanghai dream and bullet trains can wait. It is time to get the basic infrastructure right. And it is not going to come cheap. According to a McKinsey study, Mumbai needs an investment of nothing less than $220 billion over the next 20 years to keep up the speed. Reimagining the Mumbai infrastructure, that is the big topic of discussion and debate right here on the India Development Debate tonight. And it's indeed a pleasure to be welcoming a stellar panel right here on the show this evening. Neville A. Mehta, CEO Mumbai First, Rishi Agarwal, Director Mumbai Sustainability Centre, Bachi Karkaria, author and columnist, Shaina NC representing the BJP, and Sanjay Jha represents the Congress Party. Thanks each one of you for sparing time and your thoughts for Mumbai this evening right here on our show. Let's begin with you, Bachi. We usually refrain from discussing city-specific issues on the India Development Debate, but we're making an exception today because this isn't just another city. This is India's financial capital that alone contributes to 6% of the country's GDP. And Mumbai today is a colossal mess, and none of us can deny it this evening. Who really takes the blame?
You know, it's this is such a sense of deja vu every time that the monsoon begins, or even when they say it's the pre-monsoon. You know, who can we blame? I think we can blame bad planning, we can blame bad roads, but most of all, I think we can blame corruption in the BMC and corruption in every agency that is responsible for urban planning in the city today. If you just walk around the streets of Mumbai on any ordinary day, forget about extraordinary days like the past 3 days, and you can openly see how the city is not being run. The city is not even being run, it's not even walking, it's not even crawling. And everything seems to add to the problem. I do not deny that we need a metro railway, but the metro railway has dug up huge portions of the city, and therefore they've become a very convenient scapegoat to blame in this particular instance. But look at it on any other day. It's you know, you cannot walk on the streets because of encroachment. You cannot walk on the streets because of garbage piling up, and there seems to be no traffic management of any kind. So, I mean, I don't know why we call this the maximum city any longer. It's a joke.
Maximum city. Viewers, tonight we're taking calls because we want to hear from you. At the outset, I do want to say we don't want to make this a politician bashing show. I think there are solutions that we need to find collectively, and which is why we've got political representatives on the panel. But the number on which you can call is flashing on top of your screen. So do pick up the phone. We'd like to hear your views, especially if you are a professional who's stranded and unable to go to work tonight. But Shaina NC, the BJP's Mumbai chief says the buck stops with the BMC. The BMC says it's because of the metro work that we're having this situation. The BMC, of course, is run by the Shiv Sena. Don't you think citizens are tired of this BJP Shiv Sena blame game? When will we see governance improve?
Well, the reality is year after year we have these debates. You see incessant rain, you see from June all up until October all kinds of erratic climatic conditions. But there are a few facts which need to be brought into the public domain. Are we accountable? Clearly we are. We are not jumping the gun. If at all, the faulty contractors who for the first time for their shoddy job were put behind bars, it was done in our government during Devendra Fadnavis as Chief Minister, who took this stand that, you know, if you are a guilty contractor, go to jail or pay up. And more importantly, we need to understand that Mumbai is a very complicated city, huge infrastructure, huge expectations from the infrastructure, but huge influx as well. At the same time, you have certain low-lying areas which is part of the topography. Now, if you have high tide and if you have rain, we know that these certain areas, whether it's Sion, Vadala, Thane, Nalasupara, Bhivandi, Vasai, there will always be water clogging no matter what you do because of the rain coupled with the high tide and the low-lying areas that are part of this land that we have actually gotten from the sea, which is known to one and all. But having said that, our Chief Minister has tried his very best to ensure that agencies do not pass the buck. If you recall, a lady who had lost life in Chembur because of a tree falling on her, despite the fact that her neighbor had made a complaint, the guilty officer who chose not to perform was suspended. So yes, the buck does start and end with the municipal corporations, but the Urban Development Department, which overlooks multiple agencies, whether you have the MMRDA, the railways, etc., so many agencies that are working on infrastructure projects collectively, the endeavor is that there will be an umbrella body which actually takes on the responsibility of all and the coordination between multiple agencies. So we have a sense of accountability. I hope that Mumbaikars realize that along with this being a very large city and the infrastructure load being tremendous, there are projects like the metro and the coastal road which have not just taken off but have taken off at the speed where previous governments just chose to talk about it and have it on paper. So I think that there is work happening, a lot more needs to be done, but the collective consciousness of the administration and the citizen is a must.
Okay. You know, Shaina, you've given a long answer explaining your position there, but it is a very familiar pattern and things almost play to a script. Every year, year after year, the city is paralyzed during the monsoon. It doesn't matter if it's the BJP or the Congress, Sanjay Jha, we find new targets, but nothing really changes for the city.
Well, Supriya, let me tell you that Mumbai has the unique distinction of being not just the commercial capital of India, but also its entertainment capital of India. And, this is a very special privilege that very few cities in the world have. I mean, I remember the erstwhile name Bombay is a brand. I mean, you travel abroad, you will find restaurants called Bombay. Bombay is a lifestyle store. I mean, we have completely destroyed the reputation of this great cosmopolitan city. And, I don't want to indulge in a blame game, but what are the facts here? The fact is that the budget of the BMC is larger than the budgets of several states in India. It is, by the way, the municipal corporation with the largest budget in Asia. What is the other truth? That for the last 25 years, the BJP and the Shiv Sena have been winning the elections. I have been congratulating them every 5 years for their political triumph. What have they done to the city after their win? They have destroyed it. And I can tell you there are only two simple reasons why that is happening. One is complete unbridled corruption, and the second is pathetic governance. The two are usually inextricably intertwined, and that's exactly what's playing out. The people of Mumbai have repeatedly trusted Shiv Sena and BJP, which is why they have voted them in. But their political arrogance is so high, they believe they win an election, converting the city into the pothole capital of India, and therefore they believe they have a license to go again on their corruption and their loot and their exploitation of the city for the next 4 years. And in the last year, they campaign and they keep winning elections. I think somewhere down the line, I think the citizens of this city have to wake up and ask a tough question of both the BJP and Shiv Sena. Please don't allow BJP to get away with it, Supriya and Sandeep, because they will keep saying that the Shiv Sena runs the BMC. It is not true. They are both hand in glove. They are coalition partners in both the state and the BMC, and they have looked the other way. I mean, I don't know how China has the temerity or the audacity to talk about governance when you have a situation today where people said we need a security guard to go on potholed roads.
Okay,
That's a Mumbai Mirror front page.
Okay,
people
Sanjay,
are saying to go on those potholed roads, I need security guards.
Okay, I take that point. You're saying it's unbridled corruption and apathy, but let's take this forward. Neville, why have the steps taken? It's not as if no government has done anything. It's not as if, nothing's been done. Why have the steps taken by governments and civic agencies over the last decade? Let's not talk about 2-3 years and make it a BJP Congress issue. Let's step back and look at it over a 10-year time frame. Why have steps taken over the last decade had so little impact? It's not as if nothing had been done. We had the Brihan Mumbai stormwater drainage project. We now have better equipped disaster cell units, better forecasting mechanism. Yet all of this has had little impact. Why?
I feel that it's high time that we stop blaming the parties, the government and the individuals who run the government. First of all, I feel that this is basically an ego issue between various departments in the government. Each one wants to pass on the ball. And it's not that we do not have expertise, we do not have brains. Our Indian brains are known to be the most fertile brains. We outshine in all other countries. Why not in our country, and why not in the city that we call it the commercial capital of India? It's just because I believe that the governance is lacking, there is no transparency, and utter frustration creeps into those people who have the expertise, who have the knowledge, who can be of tremendous help in governance, are not allowed to take part because of the ego issues of various departments. What I personally feel is that we should learn from the mistakes of the past. I mean, we can keep talking and spending time about what happened 10 years back. We can talk about analytics, we can talk about statistics. But if we use the analytics and statistics to talk about the future and to take remedial measures rather than crying over spilt milk, I think even now it is not too late, because we have a generation to come and generations to come. So let the posterity remember us for at least taking and learning from our mistakes. So first, I feel we need a person like the CEO, a position of CEO of Mumbai, a man who has to his command every department under his command. He doesn't have to go to the BMC for something. He doesn't go somewhere else and get permission from another department. He doesn't go to the other department. This man should be the CEO of Mumbai. He should have all the resources at his command to see that there are some action points taken. Forget the action points. Sustainability. Governance is just not setting up a bridge or building a road or setting up a rainwater storm. It is how you maintain it. It's how you service it. It's how you upkeep it. It is that which matters. Otherwise, you can keep building, and if it doesn't sustain, if it doesn't test the time, it's going to crumble. So ultimately, we have to understand that it's high time that Mumbaikars get up, understand their situation, and contribute. Here I must also add one point of caution, that it's high time Mumbaikars, people like you and me, take upon ourselves the onus, the responsibility, the feeling of involvement and belonging to be a Mumbaikar. If you want to live in Mumbai, you have to respect Mumbai.
Yes.
You cannot litter Mumbai. You cannot.
Neville, I get that point.
You cannot break the law and then expect others to clean your mess.
I appreciate your point, and I absolutely, I get your point. I think being a Mumbaikar, the responsibility also lies on each one of you, and I'm not going to say us because I don't live in Mumbai, but each one of the Mumbaikars to fix that city. But let me go across to Rishi. And Rishi, we often get told that incessant rains are tough to handle in any city, and Mumbai is no exception. And Shana also did, talk about the high tides, the low level of land and all of that. Do you buy that? Hong Kong is another financial hub. Do rains cripple a city like that, like they do it here in Mumbai? I mean, look at London, look at Hong Kong, look at some of the cities that Mumbai aspires to be.
Yeah, so I'd like to add to some of the previous points, but to answer your question, none of these cities are impacted to the level that Mumbai gets impacted. Having said that, we have to really appreciate agencies like the railways, which continue to keep servicing, and even in London I'm told that the tube keeps breaking every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and nothing like the Mumbai local railway system, which is extremely robust. See, this is a systemic pattern. I've been involved with almost 20 years with Mumbai's governance issues, and if I were to place a blame, I would not place it on Shiv Sena or BJP at all. I mean, I've been doing that for a decade now. Congress, you blame the political parties, corruption, the usual things. I think the blame squarely lies, and since this is also a business channel, is with the taxpayers, with the businesses, with the entertainment industry. These are the big people who are contributing to the tax kitty, and these are also the people who are employing. And for some reason, I think the disruption in the city life during monsoons has been completely internalized by these parties. It's a maximum of 15 to 20 days where there is severe disruption, maybe on the outside 30 days. And people have internalized this, and it's a low level equilibrium. In a London or a Hong Kong or a Paris, possibly people have not internalized this. And like I keep saying, citizenship is really misused in this country. People take it for granted. And the levels of involvement by business, I mean, even if you look at bodies like Bombay First, I've worked over there in the past 20 years of association. It's a shame how bodies like Bombay First work. Over a period of time, they've just become rubber stamps to the government instead of becoming powerful voices for business interests in the city. And the business is doing very little. I think the top industrialists have reduced whatever they do also as a vanity exercise. They want to showcase in New York and Washington what they're doing, but rarely be connected over here. So I would squarely put the blame on the taxpayers and the citizens of Mumbai. I think it's no point. If any one of us were in the place of Shiv Sena and BJP, I think we would be doing the equal level of corruption or taking advantage of the scenario. It's like almost a bank vault which is left without guards. Just about anybody would become a robber, and the guards are really the citizens and the taxpayers, and the taxpayers are also, look at it, I mean, the kind of level of discernment we show as consumers in Mumbai. If you were to buy a SUV, you would go to X length to ensure that all the best features are there. I run something called as Walking Project. I've been involved with saving the mangroves. That same level of discernment is just not there in the citizens at all. They are not going to fund any advocacy efforts or at all. I mean, if you were to buy a smartphone today, you want to buy the latest model of iPhone, etc., and people are willing to spend 1 lakh rupees, 3,000 rupees per month as an installment, but you ask them to support any advocacy efforts, all that you get is 1,000 questions and not a single rupee of donation. So I think the city, there is a pattern to it, and the pattern is contributed not just by the politicians, but by the average citizen of Mumbai as well.
It's an interesting point you're making, Rishi Agarwal, that a lot of it is also citizen apathy. The fact is that we get what we deserve, and that we've internalized this as a way of life, that ye 15 din ko nuksan hai, let's grin and bear it, and I think that reflects the situation in some sense. I think before I go to the panelists, we've got a caller. I think Amit from Mumbai is calling in with a question. Let's listen in. Hi Amit, good evening, thanks for calling in.
Hi. Before I could ask my question, I just want to answer the gentleman before me. See, let's not blame everything on citizen apathy. See, we are citizens, we have elected governments and civic bodies to carry out some functionalities that the citizens cannot or should not be carrying out themselves. So we leave it up to the government and the civic bodies to do a few things like basic amenities, sanitation, recycling and all. Of course, we have our duties as citizens, but a city's combat to rain or to everyday activity cannot be attributed to citizens. Now,
right.
having said that,
Amit, your question.
Yeah, my question is that before every major event that happens in India, whether it's a budget, whether it's a parliament session, we have a proposal by parties. So do civic bodies ever give out a proposal on how to combat this particular menace of monsoon that comes in every year? If that particular plan is not present, should the government take some steps into making them accountable? The government is in coalition with Shiv Sena in terms of the civic bodies. If the government is actually very serious about combating this problem, should they not take their support away on this particular issue till the time this problem of our incompetitiveness to combat common potholes, building up of pathways where people can walk, repairing bridges that are in dire need of repairs. If these basic things are not carried out, shouldn't the government in power right now take support away from Shiv Sena, probably call in elections if they're very serious to fight on? Otherwise, it becomes just an argument that they're all having for 15 days, and then it becomes another issue, and then we keep forgetting the ones that we lose.
Right.
Okay, Amit, thanks for calling in with that view. Shana, Ansi, that question is obviously directed at you. If you are so serious about the welfare of the citizens of Mumbai, if you care so much, why don't you call the Shiv Sena's bluff? Why don't you pull out, every other day we see Shiv Sena's Uddhav Thackeray making these statements. I don't understand the nature of this relationship in any case. It helps to take on each other. It helps to, ally with each other. Why don't you call the bluff and expose the Shiv Sena if you feel the lack of governance is on account of their running the BMC?
So my answer to Amit Kumar is first that if we were interested in lust for power, we'd be sitting in the ruling in BMC. We chose to do just the opposite. We said that we would rather be the voice of the people, make the administration accountable and sit outside but ensure that the jobs are done. Now nobody is shunning or putting their hands up or saying that this is not our role or not our duty. What we constantly say is that these 16 agencies that need to work in tandem, there has to be an umbrella body which basically looks into their daily functioning so that citizens' complaints, whether it comes on a 1916 which is the disaster management or to a BMC helpline, is addressed and is monitored. But I want to say one more point that, constantly we talk about potholes. It was Kirit Somaiya, our member of parliament, that ensured that at least this first lot of guilty contractors are put in jail. So of the 400 roads, integral roads in Mumbai, you have about 60% which are done. True. 20% which are balanced and 20% which are still to be completed. So I think that if we going to go into who's done what, it's not as if work is not happening. Whether it's in big infrastructure projects like the Mumbai Metro or the Coastal Road, all of them are not in the pipeline. They're realized and in the process of living a timeline. So I think that we have to understand that yes, if there is incessant rain, you will have some problems which are limited to your topography. The low-lying areas you cannot do anything about, but at the same time, if it's coupled with high tide, it's only that much worse. So we have to be understanding that there is no magic wand which is just going to solve all the problems when you have this kind of influx on the daily system. You talk about, I'm glad that Rishi ji talked about the railways and the bus system, because really even a city like London can't cope with rains like
Shaina, I'm sorry, I'll just have to cut you short. Yes. Shaina, I'm sorry, I'll have to cut you short there, but I'll let Sanjay Jha make a quick interjection, and then I want to talk specifically about the BMC with Bachi Kakriya. But Sanjay Jha, go ahead and quickly make that interjection that you want to.
Well, I think, Supriya, last year a doctor fell into a manhole and died. I can tell you that what Mr. Agarwal said is really hitting the nail on the head. That, this exaggerated notion that Mumbai's people are resilient is, I think, one of the most self-destructive, shall we say, phrases in town. Because, the people of Mumbai don't have a choice. I mean, for example, even if the rail tracks are flooded and the buses are infrequent, people have a job to do. They don't want to lose their salaries. They have their careers to look after. The people of Mumbai rise to an occasion. But I think the political system is exploiting this, what I call is the power of endurance that the people have. And I think that's a tragedy. That's really a tragedy. Now, I represent a political party and I would take full accountability if I was directly responsible for it. But there is no denying that there is today an act of criminal negligence by the BJP and Shiv Sena because they have run the BMC. Now, you can blame the state governments for some lapses, and we were there in the past in states. But the truth is that the BMC runs Mumbai, and the BMC has let Mumbai down.
Okay. All right, just hold your thoughts there, Sanjay Jha, because I think that is where I'm going to go straight across to Bachi. And Bachi, is the problem funds? Does the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, the governing civic body of Mumbai, which is India's richest municipal corporation, where annual budgets actually exceed that of some of India's smaller states, not have enough money to fix roads and drainage in India's maximum city, in India's financial capital?
You know, what they first have to fix is their conscience. I mean, this is a completely, lackadaisical, indifferent municipal corporation. And I'll tell you why. One of the major reasons is the fact that the municipal commissioner is answerable directly to the chief minister and not to his own body. So when Shaina says that we have sat and taken the back seat, that is absolutely not true, because she must question what the municipal commissioner, who is answerable to Mr. Fadnavis, is doing, and what are the answers that Mr. Fadnavis is seeking from him. You know, we have been hearing about this apex body for donkey's years. When the last deluge happened, the first deluge actually, you know, we had gone, at that time the Congress was in power, and we had gone and we had got an undertaking from the chief minister at that time that there would be single window clearance of all the city's issues. Nothing of the sort has happened. Mr. Mehta brought up the point about a CEO for the city. I mean, it's a wonderful idea in theory, but which politician is going to let go of the power that they hold in terms of of running the city? And really, I think that we to keep harping on the monsoons and what has happened in the last 3 days is just a red herring, because it's giving, I mean, it's wonderful really for the BMC or for people like Shaina to say, well, you know, there's low water logging because we have low-lying areas and it is combined with high tide. We know all that, and we know that we cannot avoid a situation like this. But what happens in normal times? That is my question. Why is the city in the state that it is in normal times? And anybody who walks on the streets, or who tries to walk on the streets, or tries to drive on the streets, will tell you that abnormal is the new normal in Mumbai. Okay. So let us not talk about CEOs and putting in more funds.
Okay,
we need oversight, and we need a conscience. Okay. We need honesty. Okay, just 1 minute.
Sure,
Shaina spoke about the fact of corrupt contract. Just let me finish this point of corrupt contractors being put in jail. But one of the biggest corrupt contractors was given a contract with the Metro Railway. Now, you cannot say that now MMRDA and Metro Railway is not our business. Where is that apex body you're talking about? Where is the chief minister answering these questions?
Okay, that's a fair point in saying what the BMC needs is not funds but conscience. But since we are talking of funds, I wanted to come in Rishi Agarwal on this point, and since we are a business channel, let's put facts in perspective. Between 65 to 82% of the BMC budget goes in payment of interest, salaries, pensions and other administrative expenses. Where is the money to invest in infrastructure creation? What explains the fact that the corporator's salary was hiked by 150% in 2017 and the city is left to submerge?
So good point, Sandeep. I wanted to touch that. In fact, I want to get away from the blame game and also on the solution part. Partly also to answer the caller Amit. See, for the past 4 to 5 years, I'm no longer as active with the municipal corporation, and frankly, I think this current municipal commissioner has been extremely disappointing. A highly draconian person. I think everybody acknowledges him almost like a bully, and this is not how a city should be run. I think that the level of participation in the city has drastically reduced. In the MCGM has drastically reduced under the current government, and that's a cause for worry, because bodies like the municipal corporation belong to everybody, every tax-paying citizen. And the solution which I'm coming to, which I wanted to try in 2015, one of the additional municipal commissioners gave a good response to that, is participatory budgeting. And this is where citizen involvement needs to come up. We have more than 24 wards now in the city. We have 227 councillor wards. The idea is that you involve your citizens in doing certain local neighborhood initiatives along with their participation. So if I know that a particular area receives larger flooding, then the citizens of that ward, either the administrative ward or the councillor ward, get together, deliberate with the municipal councillor, with the local assistant municipal commissioner, and say that, okay, this is a particular problem we want fixed. This could be a junction, a street, this could be an amenity. We need a hospital, we need a school in this neighborhood, etc., etc. And then through the participatory process, and involve experts, bring in urban planners, bring in scientific experts, domain specific knowledge. It could be a garbage issue, it could be about trees, and then you sit down and involve and come to a certain allocation of the budget for that particular problem. What you see in Mumbai is that years and years and years, decades, people go on suffering the same thing, and on the other end you have money being spent on absolutely wasteful projects. So I agree with you that more than 50% of the budget is going on salaries, pensions, etc. But you still have a good 10,000 crores left every year to be able to spend on capital expenditure. And mind you, till 4 to 5 years back, the big conversation was that we are not able to fully spend that 10,000 crores also. 30 to 40% of the budget was lapsing every year, which means that there was an expenditure budgeted, but you were not able to spend it because either your contracting system is faulty, your tendering system is faulty. So those are the big governance issues which even the BJP government has just not been able to solve at all. So China can give all her robotic answers, and she's become very good at giving the same kind of a ad nauseum pitch, which really kind of becomes a bit irritating and draining over a period of time. But these are the systemic issues which have just not been solved. Participatory budgeting and also the other kind of accountability measures which I'm mentioning.
Right. No, absolutely. Rishi, you make a very important point there, and I think that was one of the points that we wanted to cover a little later in the discussion, which is that, you know, what explains the fact that 30% of your funds are unspent and then the city is left to submerge. But I'm going to take this across to a caller who's joining us in. Manish Aswani is joining us in with a suggestion there. Manish, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. You know, I have a very specific suggestion, and that is a citizens committee of experts should be invited who could join in a plan to address all the problems like flooding. These are not very big problems which cannot be solved. I mean, these are very simple problems, but what they require is a clear planning, and the plan should be implemented at least 3 or 4 months ahead of the monsoon. And the citizen committee of experts should sit with the municipal corporation and all the other government agencies and supervise and see that all the planning is implemented meticulously. That is my suggestion.
Okay, that's a suggestion well taken, and I think that's a suggestion we're looking at, and that also talks about participative management of the city, something that we were speaking about, how citizens cannot be, you know, left alone. But Neville, you know, to the larger point that Manish made there, and if I may also bunch in a question here, the BMC allotted 4,916 crore rupees for water supply and sewage disposal for this financial year. This is 18% of BMC's total expenditure, and it's 10% higher than last year's allocation, and yet the problems continue. It clearly isn't lack of funds, but apathy. Or do you believe it's lack of efficiency? Is it lack of coordination? What then is resulting in this situation?
Yeah, so so just for you to understand that there is a citizens action group committee already in place. There's a war room already on the 6th floor of the Mantralaya. The security cameras that have come in because of the brainstorming of the private public partnership that has been initiated by Mumbai First. So first of all, before I go any further, I would like to totally refute some of the allegations a previous panelist made. I believe his name is Rishi, that Mumbai First is just one of the agencies which has a government stamp. I totally refute this, and I take a lot of grievance about the fact that he has these type of views about Mumbai First. So let me explain to you that there is a committee already in place. There is public-private partnership in that committee. Unfortunately, that committee met beginning of the year when Chief Minister Fadnavis came into power. He called for this, he arranged this, we set up the war room through the efforts of Mumbai First and the government of Maharashtra. We initiated this empowered committee which consisted of specialists and people who know the topic, who know what it is happening. Unfortunately, it is a body which also has government officials on the body, and these government officials, this committee is chaired by the Chief Secretary. Due to this continuous change of Chief Secretary's movements, the government hasn't been able to call a meeting in spite of repeated requests. So we are, as citizens of Mumbai, trying to make a difference in its running. So the theory and the suggestion that has come in through these previous callers is well taken. It's already thought of, it's already into place. But unfortunately, it is not functioning because the ability of the government to participate and openly participate without any ego issues with the people who understand the topic, who know the topic, who have performed well in other situations in other countries, are aware of what should be done, will happen if we are allowed to participate freely and of course put into place the efficiency methods that are known to work elsewhere, and it will work in Mumbai.
Okay,
so
I take that point. I
that
take
we
that
should
point
learn
to
from
Neville.
our past mistakes.
Sure. Okay, I take that point to Neville and Rishi. All I want to say, this debate is not about Mumbai first, it's about Mumbai, but let's all put Mumbai first for sure. But Shaina, let me come to you. The solutions aren't very complicated, you know, fix the roads, get a world-class drainage system, and yet it's not easy to find them. I'll give you a sort of slightly personal example. I usually refrain from doing it, but I will do this because this is sort of something that touches each one of us. In Bandra, where I live, for 3 months before the monsoon, roads have been relayed all across the suburb, right? Something that, you know, and some of those roads, I wonder why they needed to be relayed, and yet they were relayed. I was very suspicious of why this was happening. And yet in the most crucial junction of the suburb, which is Mehboob Studio, this morning, there were a dozen potholes that I counted. So is this what do you know, we could keep blaming BMC, you know, BJP, Congress, what, as a citizen, I'm wondering, what do I blame this on? Is this apathy, incompetence, or corruption? Why did we have to relay every roads, and yet the most crucial road that links Bandra to the rest of the city is filled with potholes?
Well, I want to say what the reasons are to relay a road, whether it is the amenities that one uses. We know there are 37 such amenities, from your electricity to your telephone lines, cables which are underlaid. But having said that, BMC would be in a better position to answer that question, so I won't go into a specific locality. But I do want to say that the Chief Minister's one tweet today, which everyone seems to have ignored, where he says that 150 additional pumps deployed to clear the water. We are monitoring and taking care of the situation minutely. We will also consider to extend the date of admissions for various courses should there be demands, and do understand that we are here to serve the people. Now, I think that this says pretty much everything. If you have a disaster management room which is doing well, I was so happy today to see on Twitter that this one young boy, where everyone was going on about look at how bad the situation is, this young boy said that, you know, stop criticizing, look at the amount of people, personnel, administration that is on the road from area to area, monitoring the water clogging and ensuring that the systems are in place, your buses are functional, your trains are functional. So we can sit here and constantly criticize and say that, oh, this much more needs to happen. Yes, a lot more needs to happen, but we need to collectively work on it. So for those who critique, also think of what is the solution rather than always being part of the problem.
Okay, I'm going to take it across to really solutions, and you're right, we just can't be talking about problems, we've got to find solutions. And Sanjay Jha, I'll come to you on this. It's not as if nothing has been done. The Chitale committee that was formed did highlight choking of stormwater drains and natural waterways, and as the government planned to take action, it banned plastic, for which it was criticized by a lot of people. In hindsight, do you believe this was the right decision? Or was this taken too late and perhaps too close to the rains, which many believe may have not helped extract plastic out of the market? You know, I'm just saying, efforts have been made, have they not?
No, Supriya, let me tell you, I think, you know, anybody who's looked at large metropolitan cities like Mumbai, let's compare it to, say, London or New York, for example, big buzzing cities, very global in character, attracting a lot of foreign investments and multinational corporations. They all have similar problems. They're all close to the sea or big rivers, and they have, you know, a very heterogeneous population and a lot of pressure on infrastructure. Why is it that they don't collapse when there is a snowstorm or there is any kind of other crisis? Why does Mumbai do it year after year after year as if we are habitual offenders? I mean, that is the fundamental point of debate. And I will tell you the reason why. You know, end of day, the BMC has to listen to the people of Mumbai. You have to basically engage with the people of Mumbai. I'll give you one example. I remember last year, there was a singer, I can't remember her name offhand, who sang a very, you know, she had a satire or she had some sarcastic song where she ridiculed the BMC and the potholes. You know what the BMC did? They filed an FIR against her. Now, she's a citizen of Mumbai. She's ridiculed the governance. She has every right to do so. And the BMC files an FIR. So, the point I'm making is, you know, when we talk about all these high sounding esoteric stuff about committees and, you know, all these sexy, you know, symposiums, the truth of the matter is somebody willing to listen. The BJP, as somebody rightly pointed out, has the actual control on the BMC because the commissioner reports to the chief minister. So you have a situation today where the BMC is not even caring to understand what the woes and the, you know, the kind of worries that a common man goes through day in and day out. I think fundamentally, I think the citizens also need to push the button. You know, no society can ever survive if we believe that we vote and then for the next 5 years, you know, we will leave it to them to, you know, perform.
Okay,
and
Sanjay,
then we'll
point
change
taken.
It if it doesn't.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. I was in London last week.
Very quickly, Sanjay.
And I can tell you, Sadiq Khan,
Supriya,
works round the clock in London as the mayor of
Sanjay.
London to look into issues.
Okay.
The tube train there also collapses.
Sure.
But the system is responsive to citizen pressure.
Okay,
and
you're
in
saying
Mumbai, nobody cares a damn.
Okay, you're saying the citizen needs to respond to its citizens, the system needs to hear its citizens. China, you wanted to comment, quick rebuttal.
Yeah.
I just want to make a very quick point since we constantly talk about citizens. So Rishi Bagri is this young citizen who said some people blaming BMC and Maharashtra government as if they are controlling the weather. I saw many BMC disaster relief guys on the road cleaning drainage in knee-deep water. They were on war foot level. I salute these silent soldiers, so stop criticizing. I think that this pretty much says it all. Yes, you can critique and question. We have questions which have to be answered and we are answerable. But when you have Herculean task of, you know, water clogging, where you have your BMC officials working with disaster management teams, at least acknowledge that, at least applaud that.
Okay, let's hear, you know, we're talking about hearing from citizens. Let's hear from our viewers as well. Rajgopal and Iyer calls in with a question or a point of view. Mr. Iyer, go ahead and ask your question, sir.
Yeah, first of all, let me compliment this ET Now channel for taking up this issue, which is haunting the public for so many years. And the common man pays his taxes, he does everything, and ultimately has to suffer year after year after year. The city continues to flood. A lot of people are dying. They are falling into the gutters and dying. My point is, what is the government of the day doing here? There should not be any blame game, you know, shifting this party and that party. So what I'm saying is, I have written a mail to the Chief Minister, that is the Chief Minister from the BJP government, which is now in power today. He has not even bothered to reply my mail. This is a responsibility towards the citizens. Is it the way, this is the reason why we have voted them to power? That road every year after year we pay the taxes and suffer like dogs on the road?
Point.
Mr. Iyer and China read out a tweet of a citizen who felt that we should not criticize the government, and here is another citizen and a viewer who sort of called in to say that he is outraged by the indifference of the government. That's, you know, and it's understandable. But China has answered some of this question, so I don't want to go back to her. But let me take it to you, Rishi, on a point that China made earlier on the Chief Minister tweeting that more pumping stations have been sanctioned. You know, more pumping stations, of course, will help drain out water. But again, the pace of installing these new pumping stations has been pretty sluggish. I mean, will speeding this up really improve things? As a citizen, I'm wondering, is this going to make a big difference?
No, Sandeep, it will not make a difference, and I want to tie in some of the things which China said along with what Bachi was mentioning earlier. See, we are not getting the spirit of the matter at all. We've become very good at doing these kind of vain articulation and making it sound very sophisticated and everything is in control. But the fact of the matter is we do not get the spirit of the matter again and again, because we are coming to London for transport planning. That is one of my other big areas of involvement. If you look at it till today, I mean, every session that I attend, we keep on referring to a body like Transport for London. If you go to the website, it's a joy to be on that website with the amount of information, analysis and detailed numbers of how much of money is collected from the people and how it is spent. So there is a distinct accountability. If you go to the municipal corporation website, what are the kind of figures you get? I mean, I was on the website just 2 days ago, and it's such a archaic design of the website. It is deliberately made in a manner where navigation becomes so difficult that somebody should go away at the earliest. So these are the kind of very systemic issues on which I don't think Shaina would be able to answer properly. And just to build on, when she said that, yes, I don't want to criticize. I'm not interested in criticizing at all. I want to work on solutions. She used the word collectively. And I would just highlight that one single word, collectively. Where is that collectiveness? The plastic ban has fallen flat on its face. Since November last year, I am the only one who's had a contrarian view that the ban will completely fail. I've been speaking in the media day in and day out. It's not empty drawing room discussions. And why is it that the government should not involve people who seem to know more and continue with their Lagarde kind of approach and minuscule intelligence? Such an important issue. But they've completely failed. So that collectiveness can only come when government allows deliberation, it allows democratic processes, it involves people, if it is open to criticism. And like Sanjay Jha correctly pointed out, that somebody who made that kind of a film, if you're going to be lodging FIR against your own citizens for complaining or being sarcastic or using kind of means to embarrass you, then that is really pitiful, and we are not just going to get anywhere at all. I think the spirit of democracy needs to be appreciated.
Right.
And again, to what Bachi Karkaria was saying, that the conscience, the sincerity, the spirit of it is really lacking. You might do these kind of superficial kind of things.
Rishi,
we
I'm
put
going to go straight across to Bachi.
And this and that, but that is
Rishi,
not still convincing me that the
Rishi, just hold your thoughts there. I'm sorry, I'll have to cut you short. I've just got about 4 odd minutes on the show. I'm going to go across to Bachi. And Bachi, forget about the inconvenience caused to the common man. We will get told about this incredible spirit of the Mumbaikar. Let's analyze the impact on productivity. Trains are stalled, taxis are not plying, there's water logging. How will professionals get to work? Business is indeed taking a hit. I would imagine politicians should at least care about that. Forget about criticism, forget about blaming, forget about mudslinging. But the reality is that it is productivity that eventually gets hit.
Yes, and when you have got, when you are so proud of the fact that Mumbai is the city that contributes the most to the GDP of the country, then you certainly should be worried about this. When that big deluge happened, then there was a loss of, over 3 days, there was a loss of 3,000 crores, which means 1,000 crore a day. So now that was the high benchmark that was set, and today we can say, oh well, we didn't lose so much of it. And I've been hearing a lot about citizens' involvement and apathy, blah, blah, blah. But the point is that, you know, as Mr. Mehta pointed out, that the minute a government gets onto a body, no work will get done, because they'll be so busy tussling for power. And that is the whole problem, that they are not prepared to relinquish any of the power which they themselves cannot handle. And by power, I mean money, and by money, I mean illegally gained money. I'm going to say it loud and clear, I mean bribes. So, you know, we have had so many citizens groups. There's Mumbai First, there has been Agni, which brought together all the NGOs. We've talked of apex bodies, but nobody has allowed them to function. And I think that the solution here would really be a lot of devolution, a lot of decentralization, and by that I do not mean only at the ward level. I think the city should really be carved into various segments, and there are very natural geographic, topographic kind of segments that you have, and they should be kind of first administered at a micro level. Talking of micro level, citizens have come up a wonderful initiative which was Advanced Locality Management, ALMs. They would have solved the problem that that the anchor was talking about Mehboob Studio and the potholes and the roads being unnecessarily relaid when they didn't have to be. Because citizens, when they have actually supervised, they've ensured that roads are laid the way they are supposed to be laid. Now we know that this is not our business, but because these are the roads that we use, we are ready to spend our time and effort and even money on occasion to oversee this. But now what is the corporation doing? They are trying to disband these ALMs and saying, oh no, they've just become into complaint committees. So hey, are we not allowed to complain when they are not doing their job? And are we supposed to garland these disaster management people because they are out there doing their job? Excuse me, I don't buy that.
Fair point, Bachi, not holding herself back. But Neville, comment on that. At the end of the day, look, the idea of this show is not to manufacture outrage, not to pin the blame on a political party or individual, but to look at solutions. This devolution of power, is that at the core of it, to sort of, to look at more localized governance, to work? You spoke about the fact that some of these citizen participatory forums are already there, but like you said, they're not functioning. So is the key the fact that we look at, giving more accountability, giving more, empowering citizens more? Is that the way forward?
I think from what we've all spoken and what I've been hearing from, including from Mrs. Karkaria, is that a public-private partnership along with the government would help a lot. Ultimately, it is the government for the people, by the people, and to serve the people. And I feel that we have a lot of fertile brains. We have people who have tremendous knowledge in the field of sanitation, or maybe in the field of drainage, or maybe in housing, or maybe even talking about building roads. I mean, if we can build roads in other parts of our country, which are still world-class roads, if we can build an airport which is today considered as one of the best airports in the world, why can't we do it on the roads? Why do we have to keep talking about actions to be taken after the disaster strikes? Why can't we preempt the disaster when we know that there is flooding every year? Why can't we take action before we start flooding, before we start installing pumps after it gets flooded? So I personally feel, as long as you do not involve expert brains who have no malice in their heart, who have no greed in their heart, and who have brains specialized, who have done this time and again, the same work again and again, maybe for their living, are ready to give pro bono service for being a Mumbaikar. It's now time for us to do Mumbaigiri, as we say. Not Dadagiri, not Shanegiri. Let's do Mumbaigiri. Let's involve the Mumbaikars in getting what they want, and let the government support the will of the people.
Okay, that's an important point you're making
on the panel.
Okay, important point you're making. Involve the Mumbaikar and support the will of the people. I started with China. I'm going to end with Sanjay. Sanjay, don't wear your political hat, but wear the hat of a Mumbaikar and give one recommendation to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Hopefully, China will pass it through. As a citizen of Mumbai, not as a Congress party spokesperson.
No, absolutely. And, I'm very glad that everybody on your channel has spoken, I think, from their heart as sentimental Mumbaikars. I'm a citizen first, Sandeep, and I'm glad you asked me that question, because end of day, I've lived here for 30 years and my friends call me as a non-resident Bihari. But let me tell you what I would recommend to the Chief Minister and to the BMC. There's an old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I think the simple answer that you get with Mumbai is you have the resources, you have the talent, and if you have the political mandate given by the people of Mumbai, none of its problems are intractable. And I think it's a question of how well planned you are. We have no excuse whatsoever of talking about potholes year after year after year after year. It's not on. I mean, it shows that we are callous and casual. And there is no excuse for that. So I think all the government of the day of Mr. Fadnavis and the BMC needs to do is to plan, look at the problems, identify where they are, seek the expertise of the talent of the people, of the citizens, or the bureaucracy, or the politics, and do it. And it's simple. The bottom line is execution. And if we can do it, I'm sure all of us will be very happy to celebrate Mumbai, irrespective of our political bickerings.
All right. Thank you very, very much. On that note, all of you for joining us on this very special edition of the India Development Debate. I'm so glad that we took a leave out of convention. We decided to discuss a city-specific issue because Mumbai does matter. Mumbai is India's financial capital. It is the nerve center of the business activity. And yet every year, year after year, it gets waterlogged and hits productivity hard.
Now, the spirit of Mumbai really cannot be an excuse for apathy or inefficiency. It just isn't a satisfactory answer, not anymore, because Mumbai deserves better. Good night. Up next is Top 10 at 10.